I never believed in aliens until the night one landed in my backyard and asked me to marry him. My name is Lila Moreau, 29 years old, night shift astronomer at the desolate Mount Wilson Observatory outside Los Angeles. On the evening of October 14th, the sky was so clear it hurt. I had the 60-inch telescope to myself, chasing a faint radio source that shouldn't have existed, something pulsing in perfect Fibonacci intervals from the direction of Cygnus. Around 2:17 a.m., the signal abruptly stopped. 30 seconds later, every light in the dome went dark. That's when I heard the footsteps on the catwalk above me. I looked up and saw him. He was tall, easily 2 meters, broad-shouldered, skin the color of moonlit opal that shifted faintly with his heartbeat. His hair was long, black, threaded with tiny moving points of light like living constellations. He wore what looked like a uniform made of liquid midnight, and when he stepped into the red safety lights, the fabric drank the color and gave nothing back. His eyes were gold, vertical pupils, and they were fixed on me with an expression that felt less like curiosity and more like recognition. "You are the one who was listening," he said. His voice was low, resonant, and my own language came out of his mouth with only the faintest harmonic overtone, like two people speaking at once. I should have screamed. Instead, I heard myself answer, "You're the signal." A smile curved his lips, too many teeth, all of them perfect. "My name is Theron Voss, 9th crown of the Ether Dominion, and I have crossed 43,000 light-years to find you, Lila Moreau. Will you come outside? The air is better under open sky for what I must say." I went. God help me, I went. The craft waited in the gravel parking lot behind the observatory, silent, matte black, shaped like a teardrop balanced on its point. No lights, no heat shimmer, no landing struts, just a faint distortion in the star field behind it, as if space itself had been gently bent. Theron, he told me later that humans could call him Kale, offered his hand. His skin was warm. I took it. That was the night everything changed. He told me his world, Ether Prime, was dying. Not in the dramatic, exploding star way people imagine. Their sun was stable. The problem was subtler. After 10,000 years of perfect genetic curation, his species had edited themselves into sterility. Fewer than 300 fertile females remained in the entire Dominion, and none had conceived in 17 cycles. Their oracles, part quantum computer, part living archive, had searched the galaxy for a compatible genome that could restart their line without collapsing the careful architecture of their DNA. They found mine. Earth had been monitored for centuries, but direct contact was forbidden until desperation overrode law. My particular haplotype, carried by less than 0.0004% of humans and almost extinct, was the only match within 200 million light-years. The oracles called me the Keystone. Kale was sent alone because any larger expedition would have triggered planetary defense protocols, humanity's or someone else's. He came in secret, cloaked, to ask, not to take. The Dominion still remembered honor. "I will not force you," he said that first night, kneeling so our eyes were level. "But if you refuse, my people end with me. I am the last king who can still sire children. When I die, the throne falls forever." I laughed, because what else can you do when an alien monarch proposes under a California sky smelling of chaparral and telescope oil? "You're asking me to leave Earth. Forever." He didn't blink. "Yes." I thought of my tiny apartment in Altadena, my mountain of student loans, my mother who hadn't spoken to me since I came out at 22, my ex-girlfriend who left because I loved the stars more than I ever loved her. I thought of a future spent alone in darkening observatories while the universe slowly went quiet. I asked for 1 week. He gave me 30 days. The courtship, there is no other word, was the strangest month of my life. Kel could not stay on Earth openly. Too many satellites, too many telescopes pointed at the sky. So he hid in plain sight, sometimes as a tall, oddly luminous graduate student who sat in on my public lectures wearing sunglasses indoors, sometimes as a silent figure watching from the ridge above my apartment at 3 a.m. Once, memorably, as the barista at my local coffee shop who spelled my name perfectly in foam and drew a tiny, accurate map of the Cygnus constellation in cinnamon. Every night he came to me in dreams that were not dreams. He showed me his world, oceans of liquid diamond under violet skies, cities grown rather than built, coral-like towers that sang when the wind touched them. He introduced me to his younger sister, Princess Wren, who laughed like glass bells and begged me to save her brother from a childless death. He let me feel the grief of an entire species balanced on the edge of extinction. And every morning I woke up gasping, sheets tangled, heart racing, with the memory of his mouth on mine in places that had no gravity. On the 14th day, he took me to the craft for the first time. Inside, it was larger than physics allowed. Corridors of warm amber light, air that tasted faintly of petrichor and cardamom, walls that showed whatever scenery you most needed to see. He flew us above the atmosphere in perfect silence and parked us in the shadow of the moon. Earth turned below us, heartbreakingly blue. "I can wait," he said, "but not forever. The oracles give us 90 Earth days before the final convergence window closes. After that, even my ship cannot make the journey again for another 1,000 years." I reached out and touched the viewport. The glass was warm, responsive like skin. What happens to me if I say yes? Do I stop being human? He stepped behind me, arms circling my waist, chin resting on my shoulder. "You stop being only human. We have techniques, gentle ones. Your children would be bridges between our peoples. You would be mother to a new dynasty. And you would be my queen." The word queen felt absurd in my mouth, but the way he said my name, Lila, drawn out like a prayer, did not. I asked the question I had been avoiding. "And if I fall in love with you, Kale, really fall, what happens when you die centuries before I do? Your lifespan is longer, but not infinite." His arms tightened. "Then I will have known love, which is more than any king of my line has claimed in 500 years. And you will rule after me, with our children, until you choose to follow." I turned in the circle of his arms and kissed him. It was not gentle. It was months of tension, terror, impossible hope detonating between us. When we broke apart, we were both shaking. "Take me home," I whispered. "I need to think with my feet on the ground." He did. The days bled away. I told no one at first. How could I? But secrets that size rot inside you. On day 22, I called my best friend Marisol in tears and told her everything. She thought I'd had a psychotic break until Kale decloaked the ship above the Rose Bowl at 2 a.m., just long enough for her to see. She cried harder than I did, then hugged me so fiercely my ribs creaked. "You deserve galaxies, Lila," she said. "But promise me you'll come back to visit, okay? Even if it's 50 years from now and we're both old ladies." I promised, lying through my teeth. On day 28, the military found us. Someone at JPL had noticed anomalous readings. NORAD tracked an object that wasn't a meteor. Black helicopters circled Mount Wilson. Kale cloaked the ship and carried me out through a side hatch while soldiers kicked indoors. We watched from orbit as they sealed the observatory and rolled in men in hazmat suits. "They will not find him," Kale said quietly, "but they will look for you now. The convergence window closes in 41 hours. After that, I must leave, with or without you." I stared down at the tiny glowing patch of California, at the thin skin of atmosphere keeping 7 billion people alive, and felt something inside me tear in half. That night he took me to the Grand Canyon, his idea of one last date on Earth. We stood on the south rim while the Milky Way blazed overhead like a river of diamonds. The wind was cold. He wrapped me in a cloak woven from pieces of his own uniform. It adjusted to my body temperature and smelled faintly of him. "I will not ask again," he said. "I have begged enough for one lifetime. Whatever you decide, I will love you until the heat death of the universe." I cried then, ugly and human and loud. He held me while I shook apart. When the tears stopped, I knew. "I'm terrified," I said into his chest. "I know. I'll never eat In-N-Out again." A startled laugh rumbled through him. "We have better food. You will see. I want to say goodbye to my mom." He was quiet for a long time. "There is not enough time for that and still make the window. But I can give you 30 minutes on a secure channel from orbit. She will think it is a video call from Chile. Will that be enough?" It would have to be. We beamed down to my apartment one last time, so I could pack. One duffel bag, that was the rule. I took my grandfather's star charts, the worn paperback of Dune my dad gave me when I was 12, the terrible ceramic telescope I made in 8th grade that looked more like a drunk giraffe. I left my mother a letter I would never send, and took the photo of us from when I was 6, both of us sunburnt and laughing at the beach. Marisol met us in the parking lot. She hugged me until I couldn't breathe, then punched Cale in the arm hard enough to make him blink. You break her heart, and I will find a way to fly to your stupid planet and break your face. King or no king, she told him. He inclined his head gravely. Understood. Then it was time. The ship rose silently above Los Angeles. I watched the city lights dwindle to a glittering net, then to a single spark, then to nothing. When Earth was just a blue-white marble against the dark, Cale took my hand and led me to the forward viewport. Ahead, space folded like silk. A perfect circle of violet light opened the convergence gate. Through it I could see Ether Prime waiting. 2 moons, violet oceans, a sun the color of beaten gold. I was trembling so hard my teeth chattered. Cale turned me to face him. Lila Moreau, he said formally, will you come with me? Will you be my queen, my partner, the mother of my children, and the savior of my people? I looked one last time at the small blue planet I was leaving behind. Then I looked at him, really looked. At the hope and fear it wore in those alien gold eyes. At the hand he offered, steady despite everything. Yes, I said. My voice didn't shake. Take me home. The ship slid forward into the gate. Light folded around us. Sound vanished. And for one eternal instant I was nowhere and everywhere. Then gravity returned, gentler than Earth's. The air smelled of rain and unfamiliar flowers. We were in orbit above Ether Prime, and the planet was more beautiful than any dream. Cale kissed me like a drowning man finally reaching air. Below us, an entire world held its breath. Later, much later, there would be ceremonies and politics and the slow, painful work of merging 2 species. There would be children with my eyes and his starlight hair. There would be nights when I woke screaming from dreams of a blue planet I could never return to, and Cale would hold me until the shaking stopped. But in that first moment, there was only the 2 of us, suspended between dying past and impossible future, while a new constellation wrote itself across both our skies. I, Lila Moreau, once of Earth, reached up and touched the stars that lived in my husband's hair. They were warm, and they were mine,